Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You, and to anyone watching us on pay-per-view television, that'll be £2.79. In the news this week, after Paul Gascoigne's shock omission from the World Cup squad, team officials are at a loss over what to do with his England shirt. There's a disappointing response at the opening of the Palestinian branch of Rabbi Benny's Bagel Bar. And on a farm in Hampshire, a group of cockerels suddenly realised the clocks have gone forward. On Ian Hislop's team is a presenter who's made a name for himself with his famous own goals and gaffes, which includes Pet Spins prizes and that Daz commercial, Danny Baker. And with Paul Merton tonight is an actor who made his name in the situation comedy One Foot in the Grave, and playing the rather grumpy neighbour of the central character, Richard Wilson. Round one is traditionally where the rot sets in. Ian and Danny.
All right, so we're going to go straight in, are we? This will be dealing with the worst sporting decision since Caligula married his horse. Ah, look! There's Glenn Hoddle waiting for the latest word from his German paymasters. Oh, that'd be gas. Joey, Chandler and Ross. Yes, I think we've seen enough to know this is about the dropping of Paul Gascoigne and also England's chances from the upcoming World Cup. It is a very, very bad sporting decision, and you know, the man's made us look foolish in front of the world.
Are you party pre here?
The what?
I mean, you're showbiz mates, though, aren't you?
Showbiz mates, we are. It's very nice of you to say so, Ian, me being in showbiz and all that.
And being friendly with him.
Well, look. The papers are trying to turn it into a kangaroo court all of a sudden. The papers say, right, that we use, Chris Evans and I use Paul Gascoigne for show business ends. Well, I've known Paul...
I heard it was for sexual purposes.
No, we use him to further our careers. I've known him 10 years. It's failed, hasn't it? So there's that. Chris Evans uses him for publicity purposes. That's like saying, you know, the Queen needs Prince Philip for air miles. I don't think
or
so.
sex.
Or sex, yes.
She's trained a corgi to do all that for her. Well, they stand on each other's shoulders. You can picture it.
Yes. It's
Intelligent breed.
it's a lovely mental image, thank you. So, how did Gazza react, do you remember? Or has he told you?
No, the idea that we live in each other's pockets is nonsense.
Right, have you spoken to him?
No, yes, I have. No, I tell you what, I have, yeah.
Right.
But, you know, there's no... Rarely talk about football, we rarely have.
What else do you talk about?
Well, the strange thing is, you see, that's what the side of Paul nobody knows.
Theatre,
When he quotes from Latin and Greek. Seriously, yeah, but nobody knows. If you've ever seen Paul say I love you, it'll break your heart. True, he tries to squeeze it into a single belch, but otherwise, you know, it's leave him alone, seriously. I mean, he has been, you know, he's suffered enough, and now it's all borne fruit, and he ain't going to the World Cup. And when we're playing Spain with 10 minutes to go, and they say, oh, Rob Lee's, you know, getting ready to come on, so what? Oh, Darren Anderton's getting ready to come on, so what? If they'd have said, oh, Paul Gascoigne's getting ready to come on,
I'd have said, so what?
Yeah, right.
But we don't know. It's a sporting decision, like in the '66 World Cup, the one that we won, Ian. I don't know if you're aware of that. When Jimmy Greaves was fit, people said, oh, you've got to play Greaves in the final. There's this big thing. Of course, he didn't pick Greaves, and Jeff Hurst's replaced him and scored a hat-trick, so you don't know?
You do know. This time we do know.
How do we know?
Because it's a class thing. I think it's actually Glenn Hoddle is a bourgeois fool. But it is.
He's only picking posh people to play for England.
Yes. It's a fact.
Like Darcy Shearer.
David Beckham was wearing a dress, sir.
A dress?
He goes out with Posh Spice for a start. There's the conspiracy theory. David Beckham was wearing a dress, and he's going.
Yeah. But Posh Spice is a sort of comparative, isn't it?
Yeah. It's Class 4. Sure is. Yeah. You remember Class 4? We got football, you got the BBC.
Oh, we got a good deal.
By the way, I've just fell in here. If this is about showbiz, chums and football, hands up everyone on this panel who's ever had a private jet up to Old Trafford to watch Manchester United with Chris Evans. That'll be just you, Richard, and you, Angus, then, will it? you down the old mill wall there. Not a lot of purpose in that, is there?
Is this the private jet that BA run every morning? We paid our fare,
Do you and
fair
Richard
enough.
go out for kebabs afterwards?
The kebab angle is the
Not
best,
as I
isn't it?
remember. Do you remember any kebab, Richard?
No, I don't eat meat.
Oh, that wouldn't necessarily put you off a kebab. You don't know what to do.
That's the thing. These shots of the kebab owner, who's now famous and you know, probably has got a record deal as we speak. The kebab owner, who they had on Newsnight for shame making his kebab, and they were hoping against hope. He finished, you know, there's the lettuce I put in, you see, some chicken I put in, a little chili sauce, and half a pound of hashish. No, he's never going to say that. It's not a crack then, it was a kebab shop.
Yeah, but if he did put in half a pound of hashish, it'd be great because you just sold loads of kebabs. People would be,
I thought
I've got the munchies, I've got to go another one. You could be there a week.
Yeah.
And then he ended up to shoot you.
Yeah. An excellent marketing ploy. Yes, this is Paul Gascoigne, who's been dropped from the England squad and been forced to fly home in embarrassed disgrace a whole 2 weeks before his England teammates do the same. Before going to Spain, Gascoigne returned to his old school to help out with a training session. So for 2 extra bonus points, what happened next?
Well, any time there's a footballer playing with a small child, the ball usually goes in their testicles. And the BBC have made 10 series of A Question of Sport on that very piece of film.
Does Gascoigne get injured? Isn't that what happens? In sort of one-to-one tackles of that nature?
What, in every tackle he ever goes in for, you mean?
Well, I'm no expert, but isn't that what happens? And then he
Understatement of
comes
the year.
off.
This was on the news recently. This is when he went back to his old school. If I remember rightly, doesn't the little boy, Fluke, gets the ball off him, starts running away, and Paul Gascoigne trips him up and commits a foul. Deliberately trips him up.
I think Gascoigne offers him a cigarette afterwards.
Flips him up and offers him a fag. Okay, let's have a look. Paul and Richard.
William Hague, yes. William Hague trying to get some spunk into his new office. Peter Lilly. Peter Lilly. Anne Widdicombe was on the news recently riding a horse. You could see why she kept her seat. Who's that?
We don't know who he is. I think he's...
Is that Michael Ancram?
Oh, it might be. I've never heard of him. So there's a
And
chance it might
wait
be.
again.
No, he's Dr. Liam Fox. That's who it was.
What's he doing? What's he
Can
doing
you
today?
show some interest when you're giving us the answer?
Well, I was hoping you might recognise some of them, but obviously
Well,
not
that was
him.
Dr. Liam Fox, that was Anne Widdicombe, that was Peter Lilly, and there was Sebastian Coe sitting next to William Hague.
Right.
Seb Kurt's a spin doctor for William Hague.
Well, an advisor, yes, I'm not sure.
And he does judo with him. As we limber up in the morning, Seb and Bill get out their sort of white kit and go, ha-ha. And this is meant to be a big story, that the Tories have reshuffled their front bench. And the obvious response is, who cares?
Peter Lilly, in fact, we saw arriving. Any idea what happened as he left that same building?
As he left.
It was fumigated.
He left the building in order to catch his cab, and this is what occurred.
You'll be pleased, Miss Lily.
I've got a delivery here.
And who's been booted out altogether?
Are we going to go on with these?
I know,
stories? It's so boring.
He looks worried.
Now, let's get back to Blair. He's a good laugh.
We'll be coming on to him later. Then.
We've got the Minister for Lovies in, so we'll have to be very careful.
Don't rise to his bait.
I'm not going to rise at all.
I thought he was talking to Angus.
To coincide with the reshuffle, William Hague has started raising his personal profile, for example, with an article in The Guardian about what he reads. Although The Guardian did feel the need to remind their readers, William Hague is leader of the opposition. One fierce opponent of Mr. Hague has been Sir Edward Heath, who recently appeared on a BBC daytime news programme, and so for 2 bonus points, what happened next?
Oh.
There's not a lot to go on.
No.
Yeah.
Did he explode?
It's got. I mean, his head's going downwards,
Yeah.
so presumably he just disappears out of frame, or something comes up to meet him halfway. It's a kebab.
There's the hashish behind him. Have a look. Have a look. The hashish is behind him. That's why he's so drowsy.
He sneezes. He sneezes, or he coughs, and an alien suddenly goes.
Let's just see exactly what happens.
Oh.
One theory is that he was caught unawares, another that he was quietly selecting a Christmas present for Mrs. Thatcher. So at the end of that round, well, it looks like Ian and Danny have a painfully small 2, whilst Paul and Richard have a virtually large 5. The dead end that is round 2 follows the short diversion of our caption competition. And we'll hear the amusing captions at the end of the show, if they're still here. And so, to the wacky world of tabloid headlines, Ian and Danny, your clever use of humour. Judgment Die.
Oh, right. Well, this is obviously the documentary the other night, suggesting that, yeah. Oh my God, she's in!
Yeah. Better be careful what you say.
Suggesting she may not have died at all, or it was a murder. You know, nobody dies of natural causes. Apparently, human beings can live to 250 years old if left alone. But Jim Morrison, the fellow Kurt Cobain, and now, of course, President Kennedy and Diana all had been murdered.
Well, I think there's a good case of saying Kennedy was murdered. I mean, he wasn't picking his nose when half his head fell off.
So the theory actually originated...
Let the theory go, Angus.
No, it's from a shadowy American cult. It appeared...
Well, I mean, there's no need to get perfect. We don't know the man, he might be all right.
Cult.
Shadowy?
Well, don't start on me.
The magazine is called Executive Intelligence Review, and it is this strange American cult...
Run by Lyndon LaRoche, isn't it? Well, there you go. It's funded by a very, very rich and slightly unbalanced American.
Oh, that narrows it down.
No, it's complete balls. People don't want to accept the obvious answer is that she died because a piss bloke smacked into a tunnel wall. That's it. But that doesn't last half an hour. So you have to come up with some mad conspiracy. And Fayed, who employed the driver, obviously doesn't want to say, well, you know, my employee killed her. So he comes up with other stories involving Mossad, CIA, the royal family, the Corgis, the Iranians. You name it, they were involved, or not. And this documentary just went on. It's absolutely amazing it got on television. I think that's the real conspiracy.
And what was the James Hewitt involvement?
He was warned off. He was told there was some sort of conspiracy to get him.
In real life, that happens all the time, though. You see someone else's wife, a bloke usually comes around and warns you off. It's not a conspiracy, is it?
Fair enough. Meanwhile, support is growing for a national bank holiday to remember Diana. It's felt that the best way to commemorate her death would be for everyone to get in their cars and drive out of the cities as fast as they can. Paul and Richard, when 5 become 4.
That's the Spice Girls.
Must be, yes.
Must be. One's gone.
Sadly.
Ginger.
Jerry.
Yep, she's gone. That's it. You want more?
Yeah.
So was there any sign of the split when they did TFI 2 weeks
No,
ago?
I came into their orbit and they did TFI Friday, which I worked on a couple of weeks back, and they were disappointingly united then. They were, pretty much as you'd think. And the only disappointing part about the whole day was that Jerry, who I thought I'd got closest to, at the end of the day said, I'm going to remember you to my mum and dad, they live in your part of the world. And as you know, I live in Deptford, South East London. I thought, that's odd, I didn't know that. And she went, no, Croxley Green. I said, oh my God, you think I'm Fred Housego, don't you? She went, for all, well, you know, I haven't pulled it up until now, by the way.
Well, that's my lift home gone for a bit.
But there was one of the other Spice Girls who was named as the culprit by their chauffeur. He claimed.
By the chauffeur? Oh, God, was he drunk?
And no Scary Spice, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
They had a fight backstage and had to
dancing?
be pulled apart by the bouncers.
Really? I had an uncle who was a cowboy who was dragged off by the Cherokees. Is it the sort of joke, is it?
Yeah. my maiden aunt was from Moscow. She was once dragged out by the Cossacks.
Yeah. Funny you should mention that, the Russian Revolution, because my great-grandfather was there, and, well, he was pulled off by the Bolsheviks, and that's the worst.
So
My
why,
aunt was let in.
No, you mean Lenin.
Oh, right.
why was it particularly bad timing? This
They're on the eve of a massive American tour, which of course... oh my God! Ted Heath, get out!
It's just bad news, because it was the same day as there was a very large other story going on, which is India and Pakistan about to blow each other up.
Ah,
missed that one.
yeah.
Yeah. It went, Gaza dropped, Jerry leaves, we're going to die.
According to the Mirror, who's the most likely one to go solo, Ian?
Pakistan.
Yeah. Reaction to news of the band split was quick to flood in. Former Bros frontman Luke Goss said, I wish Jerry luck, but there is life after a pop band. Adding, do you want large or small fries with that? Which, pointless song and dance, means that the current scenario is that Ian and Danny are in danger of being left in the lurch, trailing as they are 7-4. And so, unlike England or Scotland, we progress to the next round. To which, odd one out. Paul, your national treasures are Robin Cook, Alex Salmond, Robin Oakley, and Donny Osmond.
Donny Osmond's a Mormon.
Three of them are quite interested in English politics, and Robin Cook isn't very.
It's something that Robin Cook passed on to Alex Salmond.
Herpes?
There's a bit that won't go out.
What did he pass on? His house? His anorak? That green car coat? He sent it to him after his wedding.
I could give you a larger clue, which is the odds of getting it right are 4-1.
Oh, it's his column.
Oh, they're all
racing column.
tipsters.
They both had a
They're all
racing column.
tipsters. They're all tipsters.
So who's not?
Apart from Donny Osmond.
No, Donny must be. I think he's probably...
No.
Crazy Horses.
Crazy
He's saying
Horses,
Crazy Horses, the
that's
rest are tipsters.
Yeah. My sister had Donny Osmond on the wall. Not a poster, actually Donny Osmond. We got £5 million ransom money.
Yes, they are, or have been, racing tipsters, with the exception of Donny Osmond, who cannot gamble because...
He's a Mormon.
He's a Mormon.
Well, I don't know, I always heard he was quite clever.
Mormon. How's Sissy Fairfax?
Very nice. I own a greyhound. I part own a greyhound called Sissy Fairfax. It's not interesting, but she's good.
Still
I
running?
won a lot of money on her. Yeah, she's still, well, she's stopped now because the race is only about, a minute long. She runs at Wimbledon about once a week, Sissy Fairfax.
A friend of mine, Jimmy Percy, who was in Sham 69. He used to handle greyhounds and literally...
Dirty sod.
Exactly. No. Oh, see, you don't know of what you speak. And he said, when you put male greyhounds in the traps, if you really want them to get out quick, you squeeze their testicles hard. It's really, and the dog is so, but it's frowned upon within the industry. That's
Not very popular with greyhounds.
Alex Salmond's career as a tipster is not restricted to horse racing. He recently wrote about the World Cup, saying, I don't think the trophy necessarily has Scotland's name on it. He's very good, isn't he? Richard, your brains of Britain are Alistair Campbell, Sir Peter Hall, Piers Morgan, and Jarvis Cocker.
Chris Evans looks like he's wearing those joke spectacles with and painted eyes on them. Chris Evans is really Japanese.
Peter Hall looks like he's holding his face on a stick.
Yeah.
It's to do with, they've all been editors of something at one time, apart from Jarvis Cocker.
It's about people who've turned on the Labour Party, which is why Richard's pretending not to have any idea what it's about. Peter Hall, he complained about Labour's arts policy, saying they're worse than the Tories. Jarvis Cocker said they're not cool at all, he's not going to support them anymore. And Piers Morgan has said that the Mirror is now going to take a critical look at the Labour Party, rather than just saying, we love Tony. And Alistair Campbell is still saying that Labour are wonderful, because he's their personal spin doctor. And he's the odd one out.
Is the right answer. So what has Jarvis particularly slagged off the Labour Party for?
He's written a song called Cocaine Socialism, which seems to be implying that people who go to Tony Blair's parties take coke.
Yeah, it implies that you don't need to take coke if you're a member of the Labour Party. You feel naturally high.
Yes, the answer is that they've all turned against Labour since the election, with the exception of Alistair Campbell, who probably...
I think saying turning against Labour is just a little bit ripe, if you don't mind me saying.
Come on.
I think it's fair enough, Richard. Peter Hall has spoken out against them. The Mirror has turned against them. And Jarvis
You're saying turned against them.
turned against them.
No, you turned against the ongoing debate.
At a recent awards lunch, Sir Peter Hall told Chris Smith he was very disappointed with the government's arts policy, saying, I'm a Labour man, but I'm a worried Labour man. Now, unfortunately, Chris Smith was looking over his shoulder saying, oh, look, there's Derek Jacobi. I've never met him. Danny, your apparently simple bunch are the Spice Girls, Lara Croft, the cast of Riverdance, and Western-super-Mare.
I think, is it?
No, I think...
You whispered something...
I think it's about misrepresentation. I think Riverdance have just made the tap dancing is
They mined the tap.
Yeah.
Western-super-Mare has just been misrepresented.
That's photographed in the latest brochure, and the sea's never that blue.
No, it's
brown.
muddy. Yeah. And that thing above Western-super-Mare, she's misrepresenting. And also the Spice Girls, they're misrepresenting entertainment.
Russell Flaherty used to be the...
Flaherty?
I don't know.
Wasn't he Flatley?
Is it Flatley? When I knew him, he's Flaherty.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. He enjoyed a pint and a kebab in those days.
Yeah.
Anyway, he left Riverdance, but they carried on.
Right.
Jerry has left the Spice Girls, and they're carrying on.
And Western's left Supermare.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's now just Supermare.
Is it going to just be called, something's leaving Western-super-Mare, but Lara Croft, who's a fictional character, has been signed up for life for the game Tomb Raider.
It's so wrong.
So on like this.
Western-super-Mare is the town where Geoffrey Archer comes from.
And John Cleese.
And he's called Lord Archer of Western-super-Mare.
Right.
And Western-super-Mare have changed the name of the town in order to avoid being connected with Geoffrey Archer. They're now called Ontario.
It is that they've all been technologically enhanced, except Western-super-Mare, whose tourist board were accused of doctoring a photograph of Western Harbour, but as it turned out, unfairly.
Isn't that the Robinsons from Niagara Falls in the boat there?
That was them, yeah. It is. That little boy's shooting up, isn't he? Oh, sorry, that's a fishing rod, isn't it?
Yes, the Spice Girls have been accused of tampering with their voices during their live performances. I don't know if you can shed any light on that.
I'm 40 years old. I don't know about Spice Girls, not at all.
You had them on your show the other day, though.
Oh, I know, but there's been all kinds of hobbledehoys come through our doors. Not that they're hobbledehoys, but certainly,
What a hobbledehoy.
they're hoys that have had their legs broken.
All right.
Not before time for some of them.
Yeah, well, they owe money all over the place.
Absolutely.
Don't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
right. Playwright John McGrath has attempted to explain the appeal of river dance. As we democratically empty the countryside of Scotland and Ireland, we seek our entertainment in the cultures we are destroying, made palatable for our mass entertainment parlours. Still, it's clever the way they all jump up and down at the same time. And finally, in this round, Ian, your odd ones are Edwina Currie, Jackie Collins, Tony Blair, and Ian Wright.
Those are Edwina Currie's legs, actually. Not bad for a woman of 50. She knows how to open the front door.
Who's that? Are they all...
I think if this is right, this will be the first one ever. Even sitting at home these last 1,000 years you've been on.
Right.
Ian Wright just got his own chat show. Edwina Currie probably had a pilot for a chat show after she came out of her own. Jackie Collins must have had a chat show. Tony Blair's just been on Des O'Connor. Tony Blair is the odd one out.
That's right.
It's the right answer.
All these years. You cut that out, you bastard, on the other.
Which naked display of brain power means that at the end of this grey matter, this week's Paul Gascoigne's are Ian and Danny with 10, whilst this week's Bamba Gascoigne's are Paul and Richard with 14.
Well done. Well done.
But before we're pulled off for the summer, the welcome relief of our caption competition.
Is the one on the right saying the one on the left? I keep thinking it's Tuesday.
On which terminal note we say thank you to our panellists Ian Hislop and Danny Baker, Paul Merton and Richard Wilson, and I leave you with news that after another tough week for the Royals, Palace sources deny the Queen has been taking Prozac. More football controversy as a gifted midfielder is dropped from the Israeli squad. And in Westminster, a swift punch in the stomach proved sufficient to silence a rebellious junior minister. Good night.